Hello and welcome. This week I'm going to show you how to make a berry basket out of old magazine paper. We're going to take magazine pages, cut them, fold them, and then use this to weave a basket. Now this one I just made out of the flyers and advertisements that come in the mail, and it makes a pretty neat little basket. This one I made using a fancy glossy magazine, and I cut out all the pages that had colors I liked on them. Now you are going to need to find 7 pages that are all the same size and weight of paper. Doesn't matter what you use. I'm going to use these magazine pages, but you can also use just flyers. But you want all the pages to be the same size, so that all of your strips end up being the same size. Now, if like me, you were impatient and you just ripped these out of a magazine, you're going to want to trim the ends as well. So I've got a cutting mat here that has a ruler on it, and I'm going to use that. I'm going to stack these. I'm going to use that to measure. So here I can see that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 if I go to this line. So I'm going to trim it here, and then I will have 7 pages that are all the same size, and also I will know that halfway is 4. So that's the next thing we're going to do. Once we have 7 pages that are all the same size, we are going to cut them all in half so that we have 14 strips. Just going to finish this up here. I'm using a box cutter and a cutting mat, but you can also mark this with a pen and use a pair of scissors. This way it's just a little bit faster. So now I have my pages the same size, and I am going to cut them in half, which for me is going to be 4 inches. So I'm going to count again. As they say, count twice, measure once. No, that's not it at all. Measure twice, cut once. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to make this entirely out of things that I just found around my apartment, and hopefully you can find around your house and get pretty easily too. So I'm going to go over this a couple times so I make sure I've cut through all of the pages. There we go. Put my blade away so I don't hurt myself. Now I'm going to show you how to fold them so that they're sturdy enough that you can weave a basket. So you're going to take one strip, I have it, and you're going to fold it in half lengthwise, just like this. Then I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to fold each of these edges to match that middle crease. So I'm going to fold this edge all the way in here until it touches the middle crease that I made. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. And then I'm going to fold it back in half. And here I have a strip of paper that is now 4 layers thick and is nice and sturdy, and is sturdy enough to actually weave a basket out of. So I'm going to pause this now and let all of you get to the step where you've got all of these done. So you're going to do 7 pages cut in half to make 14. You're going to fold them again, and have 14 strips. Okay, so I now have all of my pieces ready to weave. So the base of this basket is going to be 4 by 4. So I'm going to pick 4 of these to be my base. And then another 4 are going to go, and I'm going to weave them across the other way. I'm going to have 4 of them that are going to build the sides, and I'm going to leave 2 that we are going to use to put a nice border on the top. Now I found that this becomes easiest to do if you attach your first 4 to something, because otherwise they move all over and it takes twice as long to do it. So what I recommend are paper clips, and by paper clips I mean clothes pegs. So I am going to peg 4 of these strips right next to each other to this cutting mat. If you don't have a cutting mat, a clipboard can work really well, or I've even just taped it down to my table surface. So now that I have 4 and they're attached, so they can move, but they can't really go that far, I'm going to start weaving my other ones across. And to do that, I'm going to take a piece and I'm going to lift every other one. So I'm going to lift this one and the next one. And then I'm just going to slide this right in. I'm going to take my next, and then I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to lift this one and this one and slide this right in. And they start to resist once you've got a couple, but if you hold down the far side, you can just push them and sort of straighten it up a little bit. And then I go back to the other one, these 2 up, slide the page in, and now 1 more. Opposite 2 up, and slide the page in. Now I want the sides to all be even, so I'm going to move them around a little bit. Until this length is the same on all sides. And then once I've gotten it where I like it, I like to cheat a little and use a little bit of Scotch tape just to keep everything where I want it to be. So I'm just going to take off a few little pieces, and I'm going to go to the juncture of some of these, and I'm just going to put a piece of tape down and use my nail to really flatten it down. And this is going to add me a little bit of stability when I go on to the next step. And that way everything's just a little bit attached to each other. Now what I have here is the bottom of my basket, and these are going to bend up and become my sides. So what I want to do next is give these a nice firm crease to bring them up to the sides. These ones, it's easy to tell because you fold it right up to the edge of where it is. These ones, what I like to do to keep them nice and uniform is to take a ruler, put it down on the edge, and then I have something to fold against to give me a nice crease, and that will keep my crease nice and uniform. So I'm going to fold up all my edges just to give it a nice sharp crease that I can then follow when I start to weave the edges. I'm going to do this one, and for the last one we're going to have to unclip it. And then I'm going to be really glad that I put the tape on it, since the clothes pegs are no longer going to be holding it in place. So I'm going to take my clothes peg off, move them to the side, and I'm going to fold up and crease my last side. So I've got the bottom, got my thighs folded up, and now I'm going to do the weaving in and out that forms the sides of the basket. Now each layer is going to take 2. So I'm going to grab 2, then I'm going to pick these 2. And I like to start at a corner. I find it is the easiest. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold it in half, and that makes me a nice sharp corner. I'm going to pick a corner to start at. I'm going to start back here. And I'm going to bring this back here. And just like we did every other, we're going to do every other on the side. And so this is going to go outside, and because this one went outside, this one needs to go inside, and then outside, and then inside, every other. Now, as soon as I let this go and try and do this side, this is just going to slip right out. So what I found makes it easiest so that you don't have to keep redoing your work is to take a paper clip. And I like to do it at the corners. And I'm going to paper clip. I'm going to slip this right in there, and that helps hold what I have already done. So I can see it's already slipped out and undone some of it. There we go. Now it's every other. And because this one is on the outside, when I turn the corner, this one needs to be on the inside. So I keep that every other. So this one and this one will be inside. These 2 will be outside. Now you'll notice I've come to the end here. So what I'm going to show you now is how to join another one to it. So I'm going to use this one next. And I'm going to decide which bit I like better. They really are pretty the same, but I think there's a little more picture going on here, so I'm going to pick this. So I'm going to take it to the corner, it's my corner, and I'm just going to bend it where I want my corner to be. And I'm going to pinch it to give it a nice sharp crease. I'm on this side now. Now I'm going to take this one, and you see how they all open like that? I'm going to open this one, and I'm just going to slide this other one inside it like that. And snug it together, and there I go. Now I have a join between the 2 pieces. So this is a spot of a little bit of weakness and a little bit of finesse that I don't want to redo, so I'm going to take a paper clip at an angle, and I'm going to slide it down there, and that is going to help hold all of that in place while I keep going. I'm just double checking here that I've gone from this on the outside to this on the inside before I can continue, which means this needs to go out, and that needs to go out, And see, look there, I did it backwards. Sometimes takes me a moment to get my head around which one's going where. Now I can lift them. I've gone every other again. Now I'm coming to another corner. So I'm going to take my thing, I'm going to decide that's a nice place for my corner, and I'm going to pinch it to give it a crease. And pinching it and giving it a crease will help it sort of stay a little better on its own. This one's on the outside, so the next one has to be on the inside. Lifting every other, slotting that in, lifting those up. Now I've come all the way around and I'm back to a corner again. So again, I'm going to decide which one I want to keep and which one I want to trim. I think I'm going to keep this one, which means I need to trim this one to the corner. So I'm going to take my scissors and I am just going to take it down to the edge of that and snip. I'm going to take this one, the one I didn't snip, and I'm going to turn the corner with it and pinch it to give it a crease. I'm going to slot one into the other. So I'm opening that up and I'm slotting it over the other side. Now that sometimes takes a little bit of finesse and a little bit of wiggling. And if you find that it's sticking out too far, sometimes you just need to trim a little more off your end. So I'm going to trim some more, see if I can get this to fit nicer. I like that better. So it doesn't drive me crazy and all come apart. I'm going to paper clip it. The paper clips are nice because you can take them off and adjust things again later. So now I have done my first level and I'm going to do my second. So just like I did before, I'm going to start with one. I'm going to pick where I want the corner to be. And I think I don't want my corner in the middle because my middle is sort of boring white. I want my corner right here. So I'm going to crease it. Now, just to make it a little more stable, I like to start at a different corner than I did before. So since our joins and our tucks are at this corner, where the ends meet, I'm going to have just the sturdy folded corner start here. And I'm going to do it the opposite of what I did before. So since this piece was on the outside, now I need it on the inside. This one's on the inside, it'll be on the outside. So I fold back the opposite. I take my piece and I slot it in. Like that. I'm going to turn my corner here. I'm going to make sure I continue the inside-outside pattern. Until I come along. I'm going to get a paper clip and I'm going to clip this down so that I can work on the other side. The other side already starting to try and come up a little. So I've reached the end. I'm going to give a nice fold crease. And because I didn't fold that one exactly in the corner, this one now I'm going to be joining in the middle of a side instead of at a corner. I thought I would try that. My crease is a little crooked, so my piece is going a little crooked. So I'm just going to re-pinch it there. And I think I'm going to do this one next. And I think I want to have less of this white space. So I am going to trim that. And I'm going to tuck the white end inside this one. And now can continue weaving. So I'm double checking, this is on the outside, this one's on the inside. I want to make sure I'm doing that every other in and out. I'm going to slot it down. Because my join is in the middle here, behind that one, this is where I'm going to put my paper clip. Just to give it a little bit of support. Now I have one more edge to do. I'm going to take this to where I want the corner to be. And I'm going to pinch it. I'm going to check that I'm going the opposite of what I did last time. And now I'm going to join my corner. So this one is already, doesn't need so much trimming right there. I'm going to trim this here. I don't need my overlap to be that big. I'm going to make a crease for the corner. I'm going to pinch it. Now to do this one, let's see if I can do it so you can see it. Right now, this paper clip's in the way. But since I'm right here and I'm not working elsewhere, I am fine with taking this paper clip off. Take it off, and I'm going to slot this end over this one. So it's like that, and now I'm going to put my paper clip back on to hold it. The nice thing about the paper clips is even if they're a level down, like this green one is, I can still, my thumbnail, just sort of get in there and pop that off. And I find that once I've moved to the next row up, that it holds the row below it. So I'm going to take off these paper clips off the row below. Sometimes they get a little stuck. So there we go. So I have reached the height of what I'm going to make this. So my next step to finish the top is I'm going to take these edges here, and if it ends on the inside, I'm going to fold it over to the outside like that. And then I'm going to take my stapler, which I find works best for this. I'm just going to go chunk. No, I missed with that one because I was trying to go too fast. Now it's a little ugly, but it's okay because we are going to cover this at the end with a border. Now I sometimes, since everything moves a little, I can totally see that this side of my basket is way higher than this side. So these ones I'm going to trim so that when I fold them over, they don't end up showing. This is also the point, since this is gaping up here, that I can take a moment to just sort of push it down a little, just sort of even up my edges. I'm going to fold this piece out. Now, of course, I'm going to have stapler complications. So give me a second to fix this. Okay, I am back with a different stapler that works better and is a little bit less evil. So I can fold sides over like so, take the stapler, and ka-chunk, it holds down for me. Now these ones, I don't want it all the way down there, so I want some of this still showing. I'm just going to trim it. press it down to where I want it, fold the inside ones out and the outside ones in, slip the stapler over, and squeeze down to secure it. Slip out my paper clips. I'm not too worried about how this looks because this part is all going to get covered up. So I'm going to finish my other edges and then I'm going to show you the final step. Okay, so I have all of my sides folded and stapled. So now I'm going to do the nice top that shows. I'm going to take my final two and I'm going to fold them one more time to make a narrow border. So I have one that is half sized as all the others. I'm going to take a glue stick and I'm going to coat this very liberally with glue. And I'm going to go here and I'm going to start slotting it over. I get to the edge and I turn. Sometimes it takes a little bit of squishing it down in there. To the next edge, and I turn again. Now this is another very nice place to use your paper clips. They can hold this nice and flush and tight while the glue dries. So I've gone a little over halfway around, but I still have some area left. So I'm going to take my very last one, I'm going to fold the edges in to make it that special narrow piece. Like that. I'm going to cover the inside in glue. Trim the end off this one because I don't need all of that white showing. Come to where this one over here ended, and I'm going to keep squeezing down along the edge. Get to the corner, a little bit of folding and squeezing. Paper clips and hold it down nicely. And there I go. Now I have this nice border that runs all the way around. And if I trimmed all my pieces nicely, and I was in a bit of a rush, so I didn't. So this one's still showing. You can see if I had trimmed my pieces nicely, nothing shows. So you just have this nice finished edge hiding all the places where you folded things over and stapled them, and you've got this lovely basket that looks a little bit like a berry basket and has been made from an old magazine. And that is all there is to it. Thank you for watching.